So in the last session, we discussed performance testing types in detail, and we did one quick assessment, right? Yes or no, guys? Shall we have one more assessment now? Different assessment. So can you draw a graph now? I will ask you, like, can you draw a graph now? I'll stop my screen share. One of you, please share your screen. Anyone? Everyone will get the questions. I know. One of you. Shall we start with? Okay. We'll go with Bhargavi. Please share your screen and can you draw a graph for a load test? I'll give simplest one. Bhargavi?
Okay, sir. 1 second.
Guys, if you can draw on the screen, if you can share your screen and use MS Paint, you can draw it. Otherwise, get a piece of paper and pen. Okay, and you can draw on the paper and show that. I think it's fine. So, but try to draw it on Paint. Try to use MS Paint and show that. Yeah, thanks, Bhargavi. Others also open a Paint and try to draw a graph for load test. Okay. And while you are drawing, right, when explain that properly. Okay. What is x-axis? What is y-axis? And if you want me to stop recording, so please let me know. I will stop it. Okay. If you are not, if you are not comfortable recording that, so please let me know. I will stop the recording. You can ping it in the Zoom chat to stop recording when you are sharing your screen. Is it fine?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Please go ahead, Bhargavi. So, explain that while drawing the graph, please explain that.
Okay, this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. And x-axis, we generally use a time duration.
Right.
And this is
You can use the text. There is a text option, right? Click on that letter A. Yes. And draw a box wherever you want to, draw a box over there.
Okay.
No. First, I think you need to draw a box first. You can do Control Z. You can do Control Z to remove that. Yes. Perfect. Now, or else, let me take control. Can you please give me control once?
Okay.
Okay. Now what you can do is you can use this rectangle symbol and you can draw it here. No, I'm sorry. So select text, click on that letter A, and you can, here you can write the text in that box. Time duration, or technically we call that as elapsed time.
Sorry?
Elapsed time, ELAPSED, elapsed time, ELAPSED, single D time. Okay. Yeah, time duration or elapsed time. Now that is represented on x-axis. Right? And now on y-axis, no, not that box. Don't use that box. Click on that. Yes, text. Select text, and now, no, not required. Once you select the text, you just outline. Yes, perfect. Good. Yeah. So actually, you can draw a horizontal box like this. Okay. Rather than that, please wait. Let me take control. So what you can do is you can draw a graph like this. You can, now write down there what do you represent, what are you representing, or y-axis. Virtual users, perfect, right. And now draw a graph for load test. What is that called as? What is that? What does that line represent?
Current.
Ramp up.
Okay.
draw a straight line. Do a control Z. Do a control Z, yeah. And now draw a straight line. No. Yes. Make it straight. Yes. No. So కొంచెం కిందకి. And కొంచెం కిందకి దింపితే you will get a straight line.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. So that's fine. Perfect. Okay, excellent. Right, now can you explain those 3 lines? What does that 3 line represents?
This is an
Huh?
no.
User load, right? Virtual users are user load on the application. And this is called as 1 second. Can you please give me control 1 second? See, this is called as ramp up, steady state. I'm sorry. This is called as ramp up. And from here to here, this is called as steady state, right?
Okay.
And then this is 1 second. This is steady state. And then this line is, oh, okay. To click on that again, right? And this is called as ramp down period. Okay, where we'll stop the users gradually, right? And yeah, good. Okay, good guys, good Bhargavi. Guys, can others give a thumbs up to Bhargavi? In Zoom meeting, there is reactions, right? So can you please give a thumbs up? I see Krupa and Padmapriya done that. Others, so guys, please do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because though she is the first person, she was able to do it successfully. Yes, thanks, Bhargavi. Now, next, who will go next, guys? And guys, in interviews, they will ask this, guys. They will ask you to draw the graph like this. Okay. Either in first round or second round, they will ask this. You can expect these kind of questions for sure. Included, yes. So x-axis and y-axis virtual users, okay. And 1 hour. What does this graph represents, Gopi?
Load testing.
Load test. Okay. Can you now draw a graph for spike test? Now draw another paint, open another instance of paint. Type Windows R and type another MS Paint, Microsoft Paint. We are still seeing that, old one only, that load test graph only, Gopi. So when you are sharing your screen, right, you should, when you are sharing your screen, right, you should select screen. You should not select a particular program. Okay. నువ్వు స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేసినప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ ఆప్షన్ సెలెక్ట్ చేయాలి. స్క్రీన్ అని వస్తుంది ఆప్షన్, ఫస్ట్ ఆప్షన్. You need to select that one. I'm seeing one new joinee, Vinay. Vinay, is this your first session or you joined before? Okay, Vinay and one more guy joined and disconnected. Who's that guy? Remember his name? Charan. Yeah. Gopi. Yeah. Open a new instance. Yeah, click new. It will ask whether you want to save the previous one. Open another instance of Paint, Gopi. Okay, can you give me control? No screen kuda you did not share properly actually. When you are sharing your screen, right, you should select the first option, which is screen. Again, I think you also joined from, okay, now I got control. Now I got control of your machine, but you are not sharing your full screen. Basically. No potential. Okay, click no. Cancel, click cancel here. Now go to file, new. Go to file, new. Save, no, don't save. Click don't save. Right. Now I want you to draw a graph for spike test. This is x-axis. Okay. Control Z. Y-axis. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So this graph represents a what test? What type of testing does this graph represent, guys?
Spike.
Spike test.
Spike test. Okay.
Spike test.
Perfect. Now, let's move on. Thanks, Gopi. Good. Good job. Next. Who will go next, guys? Can
Sir,
someone... yeah, Padmapriya. Yeah, please go ahead and draw a graph for volume testing. Can you draw a graph for volume testing? RS test also. Okay. So, right, don't select that rectangular boxes for writing the text, right? Click on letter A. Okay. Do Control Z. Do a Control Z. Yes. Now click on that A, letter A. Yes. Now, wherever you want to insert text, right? So draw a graph box first. Yes, perfect. And now, like what are you representing on? Write down there, what are you representing on x-axis and y-axis? So what graph is this? What is the graph that you are trying to show here?
volume test, sir.
Okay. So what is represented on y-axis? What do you represent on y-axis?
Y-axis quantity, I think.
Right. Data quantity or number
Yes,
of
sir.
records.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. And on x-axis?
Time duration, sir.
Right. Draw that also. On x-axis, represent that also. Represent time on the x-axis.
Data here.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Just give us time or elapsed time. Okay, time duration. That's
Okay,
what
sir. Okay.
fine. Okay, that is
Okay, sir.
technically that is called as elapsed time. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Good job, Padmapriya. Okay, I'm stopping your screen share. Okay. So, what is that called as? Let me write it down in your class notes. Okay. So let me open the PPT. We create one document. Yes. So time duration is technically called as elapsed time. Please remember this. Elapsed time. That is nothing but time duration or test duration, time duration or test duration. Clear, guys? That is technically called as elapsed time. Okay. Okay, guys. And like tomorrow I'll ask some in the first 5 to 10 minutes, like I'll ask some aptitude questions as well. In the first 5 to 10 minutes. So, like I will cover some aptitude questions. And remember, there is a, in yesterday's or day before yesterday's Naukri alerts, I saw an opening from High Radius, from a company called High Radius, this one, right? And they conduct aptitude test. And there are some other companies, not only HighRadius, there are few other companies which conduct aptitude test even for experienced guys. For freshers, of course, most of the companies conduct aptitude test as a first round, preliminary round. But there are few companies which conduct aptitude test as a first round for even experienced guys, even 10 years, 15 years experienced guys also need to face the aptitude test as a preliminary test. For example, there is a company called Global Logic, which, for which I have attended one, I attended their interview. And as a first round, they asked me to, they gave me aptitude test, online test, and then they asked me to attempt that, only once I clear that, then I was scheduled a interview, technical interview. Clear, guys? So HighRadius is one such company which conducts aptitude test, and there are few other companies. So we will cover some aptitude questions also in the first 5 to 10 minutes from tomorrow. So today we have spent for that assessment, right? So tomorrow we'll do that exercise. Okay. So let's move on, guys. So let me open your batch tracker. And did I share this batch tracker to everyone? We are done till here in the last session, right? Till the last session. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let us see what are the other, what is the importance of performance testing, and what are the prerequisites for doing performance testing, and what is waterfall model, what is application architecture. Okay. So let us discuss this one by one. So what is the importance of performance testing? So most of you know that. Can someone explain in your words what is the importance of performance testing? Can anyone explain in your own words what is the performance? What is the importance of performance testing?
Yes, performance testing is not done. There is some issue with server. So that some customers face some server issues and they got their time.
Okay. Can you please be loud, Venkatesh?
Hello, is it fine?
It's better, somewhat better than before. Others, anyone else? Venkatesh, be loud and clear. So your voice is not so clear. Is it for me only, or is it not clear for everyone? Okay, let me increase my speaker volume. Yeah, Venkatesh, can you please repeat it once, please? What is the importance of performance testing?
Hello, is it fine? Is it fine?
It's fine now.
Hello.
Yeah, Venkatesh, yes, we can hear you.
Yes, yeah, if performance testing was not done, they make some server issues and the customers have lost their server issues and the company, whatever we are, if suppose we are using some Amazon, if performance testing some not done, some customers are trying to access the server, but server refuses, and they loses the market value like that.
Okay. So they lose
If
the
Amazon
customer
is
if the
not,
performance
some
of the
people are going
website.
to Flipkart like.
Yeah. Got it. So suppose you took
that
Amazon
is the
example, and suppose if a user is trying to place an order, and if server is not responding, or server is not working properly, and if you are not seeing the website working properly, it may lose the user, and it will lose the business. It will, and they will lose the business. Not only they will lose business, but the competitor will become strong, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, they go to
Competitor also
Flipkart and do the
that business
shopping,
goes to the
whatever they want.
competitor, and they will become strong, isn't it? So performance testing is very important for any application. Now, is it important for only web application?
For any
No.
application need performance testing.
Right. So be it web application or be it mobile app, isn't it? Whether it is web application or mobile app. I hope everyone knows what is the difference between application and an app. Application and app. Where are these terms usually used, guys? For web applications, generally we use this term called application. But for mobile applications, we use this term called app, isn't it? So app also stands for application only. But for mobile, in case of mobile, we use this term called mobile apps, right? And for if it is a browser-based application, that is called as a application, isn't it? Web application. Clear, guys? So, so whether it is a web application or a mobile app or a desktop application, isn't it? That requires performance testing. Clear, guys? So, is it required only for software? Is performance testing required only for software applications?
No, sir.
Right. There are many areas where they do load testing or performance testing, isn't it? Yes or no, guys? So, see, even some products, even some, furniture companies, you might have heard this or you might have seen this, right? So they do performance testing for their chairs also. Got it, guys? And they do load testing. So how much load they can bear, right? How is their performance, when there is huge load on the chair, right? They do that, okay, I'll show you some videos, okay? So you have some videos over internet. So how, see, durability load testing, seat durability load testing, right? So many products, see what is load testing. Okay, this is related to software. See, furniture testing, impact test, isn't it? So this performance testing or load testing is done for not only software, but there are multiple products which undergo this testing. Understood, guys? Clear, guys? You can watch the video later. Okay, you can go through the video later on. But this is a chair assembly testing machine. So if you have cars, right, they will do crash test, isn't it? Yes or no? For cars and all, there are a lot of organizations, NCAP, Euro NCAP, right? And yes or no, guys? When when any car company is releasing a new model, right, they do some crash testing. Yes or no? You might have heard this, right? You might be knowing already, right?
Yes, sir.
There are different, there are different standards again, NCAP, Euro NCAP, right? They do a crash test and they give some rating for each model, isn't it? They give 1 rating, 2 rating, or 3 rating. Global NCAP. Global NCAP is another organization which does this crash test for the cars. So in the same, so why do they do that? In case of any like incident or an accident, right? What would be the impact, right? Will there be passenger safety? Will the passengers inside their car will be safe or not? To test that, and like they test that and they rectify if there are any defects. Clear, guys? Yes or no? You know this, right? All of you know this, yes or no? They do something called crash test and they provide ratings. There's this NCAP and what is the other one that we have seen? Global NCAP, Euro NCAP, right? Bharat NCAP. So this is for India. This, they do testing as per our standards, our own standards. Clear, guys? Okay. So performance testing is not only important for software applications, it is required for any product. Okay, right? And now let us understand what is the importance of performance testing. So in for software applications. So in terms of software applications, what is the importance of performance testing for software applications? Is most users move away to other websites or applications if response times are more than 5 seconds. If the response time of any website or any page is more than 5 seconds, most of the users move away to other websites or applications. Means you will lose the business. Not only you will lose business, but it will go to the competitor, isn't it? And there will be 4 to 5 billion revenue loss due to poor web application performance. No matter how much good is your business model, if your website is not performing well, there will be like $4 to $5 billion revenue loss, it seems, approximately, right? For any business, there will be 4 to 5 billion business revenue loss. And inadequate performance can adversely impact the revenue by up to 10%. The company's revenue or company's business will be impacted by up to 10%, it seems, as per a research done by Aberdeen. Aberdeen is a global research institute. And business performance begins to suffer at 5 seconds of delay in web applications response time and 4 seconds for critical applications. And any critical second of, all this, I'll keep this, I'll park this theory part aside. Can you tell me some examples where you did not like the website or the application and you move to some other application. Okay, so let us learn from our own examples. I will give some example. For instance, previously I was, I used to use Axis Bank as my salary account, right? So when I was working for Tech Mahindra, so Axis Bank was my salary account. No, my first company, right? So, but there used to be one common issue with Axis Bank. So if you want to do any transaction in the beginning days of OTP, right? This OTP, whenever I try to do some transaction, that OTP used to doesn't come on time. Okay, అంటే 30 seconds ఏదో టైం ఉంటుంది. ఆ 30 seconds లో ఓటీపీ వచ్చేది కాదు. Now by the time I received the OTP and enter, it used to say that the OTP has expired, please reinitiate the transaction, right? So I faced this 5 times, 10 times, 15 times. Then we cannot continue, right, if it is happening like that frequently, isn't it? That means, the OTP is not receiving on time. And by the time I enter the OTP, it was saying that, the OTP has expired. Again, I need to reinitiate the transaction, right? So will any user continue like that?
No, sir.
No need, right? So there are a lot of banks. Why only Axis Bank, isn't it? So then I closed my Axis Bank account and opened with Kotak Mahindra Bank. I moved to some other bank, right? Now what happened here? Axis Bank lost one customer, right? And the competitor, Kotak Mahindra Bank, is one of the competitor in the market, right? So they got that business, isn't it? So this is one example. So where, see why it happened is they did not do the testing properly, isn't it? They did not, either they have to make sure that OTP will be generated immediately, or they should increase the time, OTP expiry time. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? So either OTP should be received on time, or the OTP expiry time should be increased accordingly. Suppose if it is taking half minute for user to get the OTP on mobile, because there will be some network delay also, isn't it? Yes or no, guys? There will be some network delay also. So they need to set the proper expiry time, OTP expiry time. Yes or no, guys? Right? Now, can you give some examples where you are not happy with your website performance or mobile app, and you?
Does it include gaming apps also?
Yes, obviously gaming apps also.
Yeah.
Why not?
I have a experience with some bead manufacturers, beads.
Okay, beads used in ornaments. And
Yes, exactly.
okay.
Once I'm searching in internet, I got one Narva beads website. When I go into that website, there are more issues like load the page takes more time.
Do you
And
remember that website by any chance?
yes, excuse me, sir.
Do you remember that website name?
Yes, sir. NarvaBeats.com, I think. .in or .com.
NAR?
NARVA
Narva bead.
Beads, BEADS.
BADS. Okay. Navra, NAVRA. Is this the one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This one? This website?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Okay, interesting. So it is taking a lot of time to load the page.
Yes, but now it was updated, I think.
Okay. When was this experience? So when did you have this?
1 year back, sir, actually.
Year back. Okay.
It takes more time, and search for particular item, it will also take more time, sir.
Okay.
I think between 2 or 3 months back, they are updated their website.
Okay. Maybe
And
they can performance testing and fix those issues.
yes, and I moved to Beadwala website, sir, for alternative.
Okay. Beadwala.
Yes. In that time, I think compared to Narva Beats, Beadwala was best, I think. So I
Okay.
moved to Beadwala and ordered some items.
Okay. So price wise, which one is best?
Price wise, comparatively, Narva Beats were best, sir, but lower issues వల్ల నేను బీడ్ వాళ్ళకి షిఫ్ట్ అయ్యాను.
Okay. Excellent use case, right? even though price is good in Navra bid,
Yes,
Navra,
Navra, yes.
right? Even though the price is less, right? But when you are trying to place some order, if it is taking too much time, so Shweta has moved from that website to another website, isn't it? Wonderful
Yes.
example, right? For the importance of performance testing,
Yes.
right? And can someone else share your experience, guys?
I used to use Geo7
What is that?
and Geo7,
Okay, Geo
Geo7, the music app.
Understood. SAVL.
Yeah, yeah. It
Okay.
used to hang out and used to get slow to download the songs and to play the songs. And I switched to Wink,
Okay. Wonderful.
W-I-N-K, Wink.
Which one? Wink. Wink.
Yeah.
W-I-N-C.
Yeah.
W-I-N-K.
W-I-N-K. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was better than the Geo7. I moved to Wink then.
Okay. Excellent, guys. A lot of examples here in our batch itself, right? Right. Excellent. So this is the importance of performance testing. Now you understood, forget about all this theory part. So you have some live examples, right? And you have some, wonderful examples, use cases which demonstrate what is the importance of performance testing. Any other examples anyone want to share? I shared one example. So just to, give you an understanding, right? And also previously, like in around 2005 or 2010, IRCTC website, mostly like at that time, there are no, bus travels mostly, right? If you want to do some long journey, either we need to go through, we need to use IRCTC or, like we have to book a ticket before this, or before this Red Bus and all these apps came, right? So at that time we mostly used IRCTC for long journeys, isn't it? Train reservation for IRCTC, isn't it? Now IRCTC website used to be horrible around 2000 to 2005. I used it, at least I used it around 2000 to 2005. At that time, there is, and particularly when I want to book a ticket in Tatkal quota, right? So there is no guarantee that the ticket will be booked. The ticket booking used to fail in the payment step, or when I am adding passenger name, or when I am entering some data, payment data. So we used to get page can't be displayed, or it used to be very slow, right? Then most of the users, like me, might have faced this experience, and that is where you got a lot of other websites like Clear Trip, Make My Trip, etc., right? Where you can book train tickets also, right? Clear Trip allows us to, this is my personal experience. I moved to Clear Trip at that time we can book a train ticket also. I'm not sure whether it is supporting now, right? Whether it is supporting train tickets now, flights, hotels, bus, of course, no. Train ticket booking is not available now on this. Maybe they have discontinued that that now, right? And maybe IRCTC itself is is the 1 second. See, not Make Trip, sorry, Make My Trip. I remember that at that time Make My Trip was also very popular, equally popular, and most of the users moved to these alternatives like alternate websites like Make My Trip.
Pick your trial is quick.
What is that?
Pick your trial.
Pick your
Trial.
trial. Okay, right. So now but however, IRCTC performance drastically improved from 2010 onwards. I think from 2010 or 15, IRCTC website performance improved very much, right? There is a lot of improvement, a lot of UI changes, lot of performance changes. It is now very good. I can say that this website is very, very good compared to previously. Clear this. But however, the IRCTC had lost a lot of business, might have lost a lot of users and a lot of business at that time when the performance is not good, right? So performance testing is very important for any website, for any application, whether it is a browser-based application or a mobile app. Can you give some? So Karthik, is it Karthik who gave that Geo7 example?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Karthik, right?
Yes.
Okay, so is it mobile app or a website that you used to use?
It's mobile app.
Mobile app. Okay, right. So you have now good enough number of examples, both from web applications as well as mobile apps, isn't it? Right. So this is the importance of performance testing. And one of us mentioned that even though the price is lesser in compared to price is lesser in this particular website or this particular seller, right? But she moved to this another competitor because their website is very good and search is very good. Website performance is very good, basically, isn't it? Okay. And even if it is a desktop application also, even if it is a desktop application, if the performance is not good, right? So definitely users will move to some other alternative, choose some other alternative. Clear case? No matter, whether they are, how cheap they are, whether economical also. So some users, most of the users will not bother because, if your website is not performing and if you cannot place an order on time, right? There is no use whether the price is less or not. It doesn't really matter, right? Isn't it, guys?
Was this similar to mobile performance?
What is that?
Was it similar to mobile performance? Like we
Yes.
get new mobiles, right? New
Yes.
mobiles launched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this concept is applicable to any application. That's what I said, right? Whether it is a web application or a mobile app or a desktop application. So most
I was
of
not talking about the mobile application. I was not talking about that. I was talking about the mobile itself.
okay.
The performance of the mobile itself.
Oh, okay. So in that case, we can't do anything. We know that, suppose if someone is using a low-end mobile, they know that it is a low-end mobile, isn't it? They know that it will be slower. Even though they switch to other mobile app, if they feel that, that app is also slow, then they will come back to the previous one. They will understand that that is not a app issue, but it is a mobile issue, isn't it?
Okay.
And obviously they will come back, if they realize that, that is not the app issue, that the issue is not with the app, but it is with the mobile itself or the bandwidth itself, network bandwidth itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let us see the prerequisites for, is it clear, guys? Okay. I think, rest all discussion is not required now because you have classical examples or, use cases, clear use cases of which demonstrated what is the importance of performance testing, right? And now anyone want to share any other examples before we move to the next slide? Please share your experience so that, like everyone will remember that, right? So if you are more interactive like this, sessions would be more interesting and more useful, isn't it, guys?
Yes, sir. I have an example for the mobile application.
Yes, please.
Yesterday, I want to check my current balance in SBI account on PhonePe. That's not working properly, sir. It was technical issue.
Did you use Yono app or which one?
No, sir. On PhonePe.
PhonePe. Okay.
Then I moved to my another account, HDFC.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. Right. Yes. And one more thing is, this week we are expecting one freelancing project on mobile performance testing. Okay. So we are expecting this week. So if, it is in the preliminary discussion phase. So if everything goes fine, so we are going to do mobile performance testing for this client, My Telecom. It's a South African telecom company, right? So we are going to do mobile performance testing, and I'm planning to start one. Once we do that successfully, so we will. I'll make some, if possible, I'll make some videos on mobile performance testing as well. Till now, like we have only web application performance testing. Most of the trainers or training institutes are covering website performance testing only, web application performance testing only. So we are exploring that mobile performance testing as well because more and more users are switching from browsers to mobile apps, isn't it? Right. So previously, like whenever we want to use a web, any application, we used to mostly rely on a web application, right? Browser based applications. But right now, like everyone is having smartphone. So this mobile performance testing market is also gaining market share, isn't it? So I'll try to make some videos on that, once that is successful. Okay. Now let's move on. Yeah. So what are the prerequisites for doing performance testing? What are the prerequisites for doing performance testing? So I'll go to the slideshow mode. So if you want to do performance testing, first of all, we should have a stable build with no major functional defects. Right? What is the meaning of major functional defects? What is a functional defect, first of all? defect in the functionality, right? And I explained what is the, I gave some examples. I explained some examples about this, which one? I think I took Gmail example, right? To explain you functional testing. So once you go to gmail.com, right? So you should get a page like this where, it asks for email or phone. Now, suppose if I enter some valid email address like this and click next, it will ask for a password. It should ask for a password. If I don't enter a valid email address, or I can enter phone number also, isn't it? I can enter phone number also. If I enter the associated phone number with this, and if I click next, right, it should ask for a password, isn't it? But if I don't enter some valid email or phone number, and if I enter some junk characters like this, right? And if I click next, what should happen, guys?
Error.
It throws error.
Application should display some error message in red color like this, isn't it? It is saying that could not find your Google account, isn't it? So this is how the functionality is defined. This is how the Gmail application should work, isn't it? Should function. This is right. So when we enter some input, right, appropriate input, we should get some output, isn't it? We should get some valid output. So we feed the input and test the output of the website or a mobile app, something, right? So that is functional testing. Now, if you want to do performance testing, first of all, that application should not have any major functional defects. If the functionality itself is not working fine, right, then there is no point in doing performance testing, right? Because performance testing is something which we do with more number of users. Yes or no, guys? When your application functionality is not working fine, so there is no point of doing performance testing. Yes or no? And I have highlighted major functional defects. The reason is, and we already discussed what is meant by, what are the critical business flows of the application. Did we discuss that in this batch? Right. So these are the critical business flows of any application, like e-commerce application like Amazon or Flipkart or JioMart. Now let's say, for example, if your add to cart is not working, right? Add to cart is not working. When you click on add to cart, let's say, that functionality is not working fine. Now, is there any point to proceed with performance testing now? Because, this is one of the important business scenario, right? Adding to cart, checkout and payment and place an order is an important business flow, right? For this e-commerce application, for any e-commerce application. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, if this add to cart functionality is not working, right, there is no point, there is no use of doing performance testing for that application, right? So this is what I mean to say, with no major functional defects. There should not be any major functional defects. However, on the other side, let us say, for example, suppose, this feature is not working, then review products or feedback, right? Or else, once in a while we'll do profile update, right? Address update or email update or phone number update. Suppose that feature is not working fine. Can then we proceed with performance testing?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Why this is not important? Is this not important?
Not a major functionality.
It is not a critical business transaction, isn't it? So that is not something which user does daily or frequently. Profile update, when do we do profile update, guys? Maybe once in 6 months or once in a year we do that. We may need to update that email or phone number, isn't it? Yes or no, guys? So this is not a critical business flow, yes or no? Not an important business flow. So if this is not working fine, yes, we can proceed. We can exclude this script, or we can exclude that. We can ignore that function, and we can do performance testing for rest of the scenarios. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Is this point clear now? There should not be any major functional defects. What is the meaning of that? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And now performance testing environment should be identical to production environment. What is the meaning of this? Performance testing environment. First of all, what is meant by environment? What is meant by environment means is a system or a group of computers, a computer or a group of computers on which your application is running. That is called as environment. You remember we discussed, like different about different environments called QA environment and dev environment,
Production.
FIT environment,
Production, yeah.
isn't it?
Low level.
We discussed about different environments here, right? See, SIT environment, QA environment, dev environment. This is called as dev environment, where unit testing is done. And the environment in which functional testing is done is called as QA environment, isn't it? And the environment in which performance testing is called as test or engineering environment. Now, what is the meaning of environment? The computer on which, the system on which, or the machine on which your your application is running, and it is dedicated for functional testing. That is called as QA environment. Now, performance testing is the environment which is dedicated for performance testing. It can be a single computer or a group of computers on which your application is running, and they are dedicated for, those machines are dedicated for performance testing. That is called as performance test environment. Now, this performance test environment should be identical to production. That is another prerequisite for performance testing, for doing performance testing. Now, what is meant by production environment? You know that already, right? All these are production environment URLs, isn't it? See, irctc.co.in or cleartrip.com or MakeMyTrip, right? All these are production environments. Yes or no? Live environment, which is accessible by which is available for end users, isn't it? So these are nothing but production environment. And do we do performance testing on this production environment? Most of the cases,
Yes.
no.
No, sir.
We don't
No.
do the performance testing on production environment, because when you are doing production performance testing, right, there are different types of performance testing, right? And we discussed spike testing and stress testing and all these, and we discussed about breaking point, isn't it? Your application may crash when you are doing a stress testing or a load testing, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, if your application crashes, if you are doing performance testing on production environment, and if your application crashes, your end users will be impacted, right? Or when you are doing load testing also, your website may become slow, isn't it? So
Yes.
your actual users who are giving business for you, right? Who will be placing orders, they will be impacted, right? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So that is one reason. That is one of the reasons only. One more thing is, this production environment database will have real user data. That means actual users, usernames and passwords, phone numbers, email IDs, all those confidential data will be stored in the production environment database. Now, if you want to do performance testing on production environment, your performance testing team can access those details, right? That confidential information, right? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Production environment database, they will store your usernames and passwords and email IDs and phone numbers.
Banking details
their
also.
database, right? And now, if you want to do performance testing, so your performance testing team will get access to the real users' confidential data, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That is another reason, we'll have a separate environment for performance testing. Clear this? And there will be some dummy data in the performance test environment. Okay,
Yes.
it should not contain the real world user data, right? And that performance test environment should be identical to production. What does that mean? Identical to production means you need to understand application architecture. Suppose this is your application architecture. That means you take any web application, any of those web applications that we came across today, right? So typically or generally they will contain this kind of architecture, this application architecture. Now, what is meant by application architecture is, right? What is meant by an application architecture diagram? Application architecture diagram shows you what are the components of that application. What are the different components of that application? I gave the description over here. Architecture means pictorial representation of an application's components. And you know what is a component? We discussed that. What is the general meaning of a component? Component, a part of something, a small part
Element
of
or
something,
unit.
right, is called as a component. So architecture diagram is, what is meant by architecture diagram? It is a pictorial representation, diagrammatic representation of an application's components, software and connections, right? What web servers are there? What app servers are there? What are the different servers on which the application is running, right? What is the database server for that application? And what software is running on that, right? And how are the connections between those servers, right? So all these will be represented in the application architecture diagram. Clear, guys? Now, what is this web server, app server, DB server? I'll explain that in a separate session. Okay. So there will be thousands of users who will be accessing any application, and all those requests will first go to web server. We'll discuss the request flow in the coming up sessions. But you got an idea what is meant by application architecture, right? Everyone. Please respond, guys. So architecture diagram consists of what are the servers on which the application is running, right? And once I explain this, you will get a clear understanding, guys. And what are the servers on which your application is running? What is the underlying database, right? What is the web server? What is the app server, and all this. Now, coming back to this this data point, right? Performance testing environment should be identical to production environment. What does that mean is, in the production environment, suppose if this is your production environment, and in this production environment, you have 3 web servers, 4 application servers, and 3 database servers. Let's assume that. Now, identical means your test environment also should be having same number of servers, same software, and same number of connections, and same load balancer and all this. Is it clear, guys? What is the meaning of this? Identical to production means?
Yes, sir.
So then only you will get accurate results. Right? Most of you who are in Hyderabad, right? So you might have seen before metro rail started, they conducted, trial runs for almost like 5 to 6 months. How many of you saw that, guys? How many of you saw that L&T conducted, trial runs before opening the metro for public? Okay, I saw some people, raise their hands, right? They conducted trial runs for almost, 5-6 months, right? So because, that is to make sure that there are no issues once the transport is open to public, right? There should not be any issues, isn't it? So that's why, they laid the tracks first and then they did trial runs. And again, first they will do trial run with empty bogies and then with some load inside it, isn't it? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
And all those bogies might have been tested already before in the, by the bogie manufacturer, but still they want to do performance testing because they want to test those bogies under real, environment on the tracks, themselves before they open to the public, isn't it? So similarly, like, your performance test and testing environment should be identical to production environment. It should be an exact replica of production. Then only we'll get accurate results. Clear, guys? Right? And to ensure consistent results, performance test environment should be isolated from other environments such as user acceptance testing or development. Means no other testing should be done while doing performance test executions. This is important one. When you are doing performance testing for any application, no other testing should be done in that environment. Okay. And you should conduct performance testing before the application go live, of course, right? You should conduct the performance testing before the application goes into production. Go live means before the application goes into production. Clear, guys? And another prerequisite for doing performance testing is we need to have a clear understanding, comprehensive understanding and knowledge of the application. Okay, then only we can do proper performance testing. Whether it is, not only performance testing, if you want to do functional testing or performance or security testing or any other type of testing, we need to have a comprehensive understanding and knowledge of the application, right? So these are the prerequisites for doing performance testing. Is it clear, guys, or any queries?
It's clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us understand. We'll discuss this waterfall model diagram later on. Now I think I already covered this application architecture, right? So let us, revisit this slide. So application, the reason why I'm repeating, or the reason why I want to emphasize on this is, in the interviews, they will ask you to draw the application architecture diagram. Can you explain your application architecture, the current of your current project? Okay, this is one FAQ in the interviews. Can you explain the application architecture of your current project, or architecture diagram of your of your current project, or they need not ask only current project, they can ask first project also. It's their wish, right? They will ask you to explain the application architecture diagram of any of your projects, whatever you kept in your CV. So you should let us understand what is meant by application architecture diagram. So it represents, or it is a representation of applications, components, software, and connections. And application architecture diagram helps us to understand how these applications or servers interact with each other to meet the business or user requirements. Okay. This helps us to understand how all these servers interact with each other to meet the business or user requirements. Clear, guys? Suppose if you are trying to book a ticket on IRCTC, your request will first go to web server, and then it will go to application server, and then it goes to database server. And suppose you search for some train availability, ticket availability, right? You search for, first you access some search page, and then once you submit your search, right? Once you enter the departure and arrival city, and you hit a enter button, right? There will be, suppose if it is a Java application, there will be some Java code which will be running in the background, and it will have some query. Let's say, for example, you searched for trains between, you are trying to book a ticket from Hyderabad to Bangalore. Right? Now, so let's assume that it is a Java application. Mostly it will be a Java application only. Now that Java application, there will be some Java class, some code to do that train search. Okay. Let's say there is a Java code or Java class for train search. So inside that Java class, there will be some query like this: select star means select all the trains from trains table where departure city is equal to Hyderabad, right? And arrival city is equal to, right, so Bangalore, right? And now a query will be running, there will be some Java code inside which some query will be there like this in your application server, and then that query, the trains table and all those details, ticket availability and all those details, ticket availability, ticket cost, and all those details will be stored in the database server. Now application server will send a request to database server, and database server will execute that query, run that query, and return that search results to application server. And application server will send the data to the web server. Web server will send the data to the browser. So this is what happens, when you search for ticket availability. Is it clear, guys? Now, this is what I mean to say, like, when you say application architecture diagram, that helps us to understand how the servers interact with each other, how these servers interact with each other to meet the business or user requirements. Is it clear, guys? Suppose if you search for trains between two cities, okay, on this page, let's say, you have from city, you will enter from city here, to city here, and click on search. And this is what happens. Your request will first go to web server, but web server will not have those details, all those details. Which details? Your ticket availability and all those details will be stored in the database. Web server will not have those details. So it will send the request to application server. Application server will be having some code internally like this. It will have some SQL query like this, and it will run that query. It will send that query to the database, and database will run that query, and it will return the search results to, let me draw the flow, right? All your requests will go to first web server, and then it will go to app server in this case, right? In this, when you are searching for trains, for example, and now your app server will send that request to database server, and database server will run that query and return the results to application server. Application server will return the results to web server, and web server will finally show that ticket availability to the user in the browser, right? And that is why whatever you see from the application, in the browser is from web server. That is why this is called as presentation layer. That is why this is called as presentation layer. Okay. And this is called as logic layer or application tier, because your actual application logic will be running here. What logic? What do you mean by logic here? You know, this logic will be running on that application server, and all the data, the application data will be residing in the database server till you delete it. And that's it. And this is called as persistence tier. Means that will persist your data, that will store the data. Suppose if you book a ticket, right? The ticket details will be stored in the database in some tables, isn't it? Unless until it was deleted, right? So that's why this is called as persistence tier. This is called as presentation tier. This is logic or application tier, and this is persistence tier. So this is a typical architecture of any web application. Is it clear, guys? Everyone?
Sir,
Clear.
all the applications developed on base level architecture or
What is that, Anil?
All the applications are developed under this architecture.
Yes, most of the applications will have this architecture. So this is a most common architecture and widely deployed architecture. You see here, right? So, you know, you can see read the description here. So this is an image that I got from internet. So most common architecture and widely deployed, right? And designed primarily for HTML web browsers, not mobile apps. Mobile apps will maybe having a different architecture. This is designed primarily for HTML web browsers, means browser-based applications. Please remember this. Okay. This is a traditional or typical 3-tier application architecture, or a typical architecture of a web application. Okay. Clear, guys?
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes.
For application to application, architecture will change.
Yes.
Or same for all
Application
web
to another
applications.
application architecture will change. Every application will not have 3 web servers. Every application will not have 4 application servers. There may be only 1 web server, 1 app server, 1 DB server. In that case, you will not have a load balancer. Load balancer when there are more than 1 server, right? Then there will be a load balancer. If there is only 1 web server and only 1 app server and only 1 DB server for any application, there will be no load balancer at all. Understood, guys?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And architecture changes from one application to another application. So you know, if there is only one web server, you know, there will not be this load balancer. There is no requirement for this load balancer. Okay.
So where do we see APIs in this whole architecture?
Your APIs will be running on application server.
Okay.
In the business layer. Okay.
Okay.
I'll cover that API testing. I'll cover that. There I'll explain that. Okay. But as you raised this one, let me show you one, show you one wonderful diagram for APIs related to API testing.
Performance testing mostly we do on APIs, right, sir?
No need of that. No rule that, we have to do only API testing. We will do GUI testing as well. We will do GUI testing as well as API testing. So as you asked about API testing, let me show you one diagram, which explains that, what is API testing and how do we do API testing, right? That will be part of JMeter course, obviously. But let me show you one diagram where, yes, here it is. API testing, so basically all your APIs will be running on the business layer or application layer. And when you are doing API testing, you are here actually hitting the application layer actually, right? But when you do GUI testing, you will be testing the presentation layer. I'll explain that. What is GUI testing? How do we do GUI testing? And how do we do API testing? We'll discuss in detail in the coming up sessions. Okay. Over the next, 1.5 to 2 months.
So users will not directly access APIs, right? So only the application part they would be able to access. So during performance testing, is it required to test only the application, right? So why we are going for API testing as
well? Because first APIs will be developed, right? Developers will develop the APIs first, and then front end team will use those APIs. So if you don't want to, if you want to start your testing early, right? So then you can start testing with APIs. So that is called as, early testing or shift left approach. So first developers will develop the APIs, and then UI team will be using those APIs. So they will develop the application front end. Okay. first developers develop the APIs, and UI development team will design the application using those APIs. So suppose if you nowadays every project is following agile methodology, right? So what is the principle of agile methodology? Agile, the word agile stands for quick and okay, 1 second. The agile methodology meaning. So the agile methodology that involves breaking the project into phases and emphasizes continuous collaboration and improvement. That means your testing will be started as soon as the project, as soon as the application development is started. We cannot wait till the application development is completed, right? So as soon as some APIs are developed, we test those APIs. And once the UI is developed, then we do GUI testing. So performance testing can be broadly classified into two types. One is GUI testing, the other one is API testing. Okay, I will explain that in the test strategy. When I explain test strategy document, I will explain that. So performance testing can be broadly classified into two types. One is GUI testing, the other one is API testing. Or else you can change the order. First API testing will be done, all right, and then GUI testing also will be done. Because first APIs will be developed by the developers, and then UI team will be using those APIs and designing the application, developing the application. Clear? And if you are if you are hitting the web server, that is called as GUI testing. I'll explain that. It's a bit early, very early now to explain that concept, so I'll explain it later. What is the difference between GUI testing and API testing, and what testing is done more frequently? Both these types of testing are done by, should be done in any project or any application. Both GUI testing as well as API testing should be done, because there may be some performance issues in the APIs, as well as there may be some performance testing in the, there may be some performance issues in the application GUI, user interface, right? So we never know where the performance issues may be, right? So we typically do GUI testing as well as API testing in most of the projects. Clear, guys? So I'll explain the performance test strategy document, and when we are defining the test strategy, we will come across this. Okay.
Okay.
Any other queries, guys, before we close the session? I will stop it here for today. We'll continue tomorrow. But any other questions before we close the session for today? Oh, okay. Let me complete this one, guys. Let me complete this slide. So what is a server here? Server is, see, in one of the interviews, interviewer asked it seems, what do you mean by a server? Okay. Server means, is it a machine only? What do you mean by a server? So, we have been running these trainings from past five years, guys. So we came across a lot of, each interviewer will have his own different approach, right? They will have different, they may ask different questions. There is no standard set of questions, we don't have any guides for, testing interviews or any interview for that matter, right? It doesn't work out like that. If you have a standard set of questions and you cannot, crack the interview by just answering or by just preparing those concepts, right? So one of the interviewer asked this question to one of our previous batch student. He asked, what is a server? What do you mean by a server? When he is explaining application architecture, this diagram, right? One of the interviewer asked, what is a server? Is it a machine? Do you mean that, this web server is a separate machine and app server is a separate machine and database server is a separate machine? Or what is that exactly, right? The answer is, a server can be a software or a computer program or a hardware. It can be a software or a computer program or a hardware. See, I have seen some projects where you have web server, app server, database server installed on a single machine. On one machine only, we can set up web server, app server, database server if the user load is not too much. Understood, guys? So what is a server? Server basically, it is a software or a computer program or hardware which understands your request, process your request, and sends back the response. It will understand your request, process your request, and sends the response to you, sends the response to the user, right? So please remember, we can set up a application, web server, app server, DB server on a single machine, or typically it will be on, web servers will be on one machine, app server will be on one machine, database server will be a separate machine typically. But there are, I also came across some projects where we have web server, app server, DB server on a single machine. because their user load is only 2000. You know, they deployed everything, or they were running everything on a single machine, and they got some performance issues. Okay, we'll discuss that later. But for now, remember this definition. Server is a software or a computer program or hardware which understands your request, process your request, and sends back the response. And you know what is meant by request, right? What is meant by request? Suppose if you type gmail.com, this is one request, HTTPS request. Clear, guys? This is one HTTPS request. So your Gmail server has received that request and processed your request and sent back the response. It has sent back this response. This is the server response, isn't it? Clear, guys? What is a request and what is a response? You know that already. I assume that, you know, you discussed that also, I think, right? So this is your request. Okay, what is request? Whatever URL you are sending in the browser, isn't it? So this is a HTTPS request, and this is the response that you received from the server, right? Now is this point clear, guys? Is this clear? What is meant by this understanding the request, processing the request, and send back the response?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Before we close for today, yeah. Sorry. Any queries before we close for today? Okay then. So I'll take your silence as no, and I'm also stopping the recording, guys. So there are a lot of openings, guys, for performance testing. If you see for performance testing, this is 1 and this is 2 and 3, Chennai location, 4, Technovert Solutions 4. This is automation, I'm not counting it. And 5, 6, Explio 6, and non-functional testing means nothing but
automation.
no, non-functional testing, that is performance testing. Okay, performance testing is one of the non-functional testing. Yes or no? See here. See, we already discussed, guys. Performance testing is one of the non-functional testing. Security testing is also falls under non-functional testing. Performance testing, functional, security testing, usability testing, compatibility testing, all these fall under non-functional testing. And this requirement is for performance testing only. See, you can see here, conduct performance testing, right? Which includes various types of testing such as load, stress, scalability, and endurance testing. Clear, guys? So this is one more requirement. You have around 7 to 8 openings on Saturday, right? Friday's email. As per Friday's email, like, you know, you have around 7 to 8 openings for performance testing. Clear, guys? And not only this, you know, there will be like double or triple these openings in LinkedIn, through LinkedIn. Most of the recruitment is happening through LinkedIn from past few years. So if you see here 7 to 8 openings there, you will see like around like double or triple these openings in LinkedIn, right? Everyone please create a LinkedIn profile, proper LinkedIn profile. Okay. And you know, like please follow those openings also, like once you start your trials, once you start attending interviews. So please create a proper Naukri profile and LinkedIn profile. It should be having proper keywords, etc. Right? So that, you know, you will receive openings through LinkedIn and Naukri. You'll receive all the openings, appropriate openings. We'll continue tomorrow, guys. I'll stop it here for today and we'll continue tomorrow. Let me update the tracker, batch tracker. And I'll stop this. Tomorrow, you know, we'll discuss what is this web server and, you know, what is static content and what content does the web application server contain, right? What is dynamic content, and, you know, what is database, what does, you know, this database layer contains. All those details of this architecture diagram will be discussed tomorrow, guys. Please don't miss tomorrow's session. Not only that, you know, I'll explain like what is this presentation layer made up of, what is this logic layer made up of, what is this database layer made up of. So these will be discussed in detail. So please don't miss tomorrow's session. These are actual performance testing concepts, you know, core concepts, you know, that everyone should understand. Whether you are joining for LoadRunner or JMeter, all these concepts are important, right? Or any other tool. There are tons of performance testing tools, but, you know, the underlying concepts would be same. The fundamental concepts would be same, though there are a lot of tools in the market. So these are the different performance testing tools in the market, guys. You have first LoadRunner, which is a license tool, and then JMeter, and then NeoLoad, again another license tool. JMeter is an open source tool. NeoLoad is another. NeoLoad is a license tool, and apart from that, you have WebLoad, Silk Performer, IBM RPT, Gatling, Locust, Grinder, right? Load Ninja, all these. There are a lot of. There are around 10 to 20 popular tools, but major tools are LoadRunner, JMeter, and NeoLoad. Till couple of years back, only like, but still you see a lot of JDs for. You will see, like most demanded tool would be either LoadRunner or JMeter mostly. If you see any JD, right, we have some 8 job descriptions or 8 openings, right? So most of the JDs will ask for, they will look for LoadRunner or JMeter. Okay. Did we see this in the last session? Did we go through this email in the last session, guys? You see here, right? JMeter and LoadRunner, isn't it? I think we have seen this email, all these emails in the last session. Okay, I will not repeat that. I'll stop it here, guys, for today.